spooky souls, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Becky and these are my enchanted pages, and I hope very soon that they will be yours too. So today's video is all about Gothic, horror and vintage books that I've recently purchased and I'm hoping to get my hands on during this spooky season. Now the other day I did pull my TBR, so I already have quite a few books on my list, but if you haven't finished your TBR or you want something extra to add to your monthly reads, then I hope this stack that I've got right here will give you a few more inspirational ideas. And because it's the month of October, I'm actually bringing out special edition videos for the month, and they are called my Booze and Brews. So let's get into the video. Alright, well I have got my first book in my hand, and I also have my trusty cup of Earl Grey tea with cream. Let me know in the comments what you're doing right now as you're watching this video. Are you cozy with a cup of something lovely, or are you going about your day? I'd love to know. Starting off strong, which is quite an oldie but a goodie, Nevernight by Kristoff. I love the cover of this one because it's got this sort of drawing with all these mystical creatures sort of caught in the wings of the crow. It's always drawn me because our main character here, Mia, she's brought up in a academy or some kind of like death cult. She's basically trained to kill. She's an assassin, and she gets involved in, she gets involved with the church's schemes or the village that she's living in. Something goes awry and she basically has to step away from everything she's known and strike out on her own and basically make sense of what she's got caught up in. So let me read the back to you, but I've always been drawn by this one. I just haven't got around to doing it. So that's partly why I started up this channel, because I've got you following along and we can be buddy reads. I mean, maybe that's even something we can do on our Patreon. I know other booktubers do that, where you pick a book for the month and we read along together. So let me know if that interests you, because I would really love to do that, or any other bookish suggestions. I'm very new to the game, but I'm loving every minute so far. So anyway, getting back into the book. Eritrea. I love it when a book has a map. I have heard conflicting things about Kristoff, so if anyone knows the actual truth, maybe I should just Google it. I'm not sure what to make of it, because I know he did that vampire book recently, Empire of the Vampire, and I was really tempted to pick it up, but a lot of controversial things have been said about the writer, so maybe I should check that out before I decide to delve into these books, because I don't like to support people who have literally morally grey areas. But anyway, let's get into what it says here. So Mia Corvia is only 10 years old when she is given her first lesson in death. Destined to destroy empires, the child raised in shadows made a promise on the day she lost everything to avenge herself on those that shattered her world. And there we go. So it's a vendetta. But the chance to strike against such powerful enemies will be fleeting, and Mia must become a weapon without equal. Before she seeks vengeance, she must seek training among the infamous assassins of the Red Church of Eritrea. Inside the church's halls, Mia must prove herself against the deadliest of her opponents and survive the tutelage of murderers, liars and demons in the heart of a murder cult. The church is no ordinary school, but Mia is no ordinary student. So it's kind of giving me Fourth Wing vibes, but more on a religious backdrop. And she's obviously got a personal vendetta rather than a collective vendetta with them all training. So I'm guessing it's first person. Oh no, it's third person. That's great. I have been reading a lot of first person books recently, and although they've been really good, you can see what I've been reading recently or currently reading in my first video that I released. They're all first person, and I used to hate that because, especially in YA, don't shoot the messenger, but the character or the female lead character always came across as brattish or immature and like having a whinge. So I like it when books aren't first person, so that's already given me good vibes about it. And just the fact that it's set in the church and it's a little bit more like an occultic kind of approach. I like things that are set in the church as long as they're not from the church's perspective. I grew up in the church and my experience wasn't very positive. I don't particularly like things that are based in the church unless they've got some kind of like mystery or kind of slightly dark ulterior motives, because then I'm intrigued then. So yeah, book number 1, Nevernight. Book number 2 is my only FMC on FMC. This is A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. She's a rebel. I did start this just quickly just to see what it was like when I picked it up in the bookshop. And she is a half fae, half kind of demon, bit of a rebel. Her mother wants her to toe the line and to do everything that's expected of her. And the first few pages of the book are basically her being pushed to the ground in front of her mum and the court or some of her bodyguards or something, and basically they either torture her or they kind of hurt her to make her bow the knee, basically, because she just doesn't want to do what her mum wants her to do. I'm not sure about what else happens, but I know that there's 4 members of the crew, like a found family, that start off the storyline, and I just loved what the synopsis was of this. Like, she's totally badass, isn't she? And I just loved the fact that first chapter opened up with a bang. So I'm super looking forward to getting into this one. Again, it's just one that's been on my shelf and I haven't got around to it. So I'm hoping that by you helping me get on this channel and support each other, we can find newfound loves of books that have been a little bit more disregarded. And if you've got a book on your bookshelf that you haven't read and you've been meaning to get around to it, maybe this channel can be a special edition video at some point where I can go through all the books that have been left behind and we can encourage each other to read those books first before we buy any new books, because I'm very guilty of just buying new books and never getting round to the ones that kind of get pushed to the back. Let me read the back of this one. Choose your player. The half-fae outcast, desperate for acceptance, the tempestuous fury, hell-bent on revenge, the dutiful prince, determined to earn his place, the brooding guardian, burdened by a terrible secret. Each holds a key to solving a series of murders that threaten to expose fairies to the human world, but they cannot do it alone. To track down the killer, they must have to form a tenuous alliance, putting their differences and conflicts aside. Failure risks the destruction of the fairy and human world alike, and time is running out. It doesn't really say anything about the main character. I mean, straight away, let me just see if it... Yeah, this first opening line is just brilliant. The immortal realm of chaos, infernal palace. Electo, which is the main girl on the front here. The floor Electo knelt on was a glittering sea of black marble flecked with diamond white. Such a perfect mockery of the night sky. This was the closest she'd felt to the heavens in some time. Admittedly, Electo couldn't remember when she'd last found comfort in such a place, but it was strangely reassuring now to imagine she could sink into the starry stone beneath her and vanish altogether. How wonderful it would be to vanish, to simply cease existing and disappear. Now that her revenge was complete, there was nothing left to tether her here, or anywhere else for that matter. She felt no guilt for what she'd done and no fear of whatever came next. Not even pain could rouse her from her apathy. See, it opens with quite a heavy punch and you're already intrigued as to what she's done, how she's going to be punished, where's she going to go from now. Cover illustration, Christopher Young. Christopher Young, you are an amazing artist. Okay, this is another favourite, loved by many, Gideon the Ninth. This just looks absolutely incredible. It's spacey, it's necromancer, come badass, kind of vendetta. Even just the page of the cover is just incredible. Artwork, again, is just impressive. And it even says on the front, lesbian necromancers explore a haunted Gothic palace in space. Not quite sure the mixture there of space and Gothic. That's a genre I've never delved into before. And there is the second one, Harry the Ninth, which again, I don't have yet, but I will be getting once I get stuck into this one. So the most fun you'll ever have with a skeleton. The Emperor needs necromancers. The ninth necromancer needs a swordswoman. Gideon has a sword. Some dirty magazines and no more time for undead nonsense. So I think this is going to be quite dry-witted by the sounds of the back. Tamsyn Muir's Gideon the Ninth unveils a solar system of swordplay, cutthroat politics, and lesbian necromancers. Her characters leap off the page as skillfully animated as necromantic skeletons. The result is a heart-pounding epic science fantasy. Now, I used to love science fantasy when I was in my teenage years, and I kind of grew out of it just because there was so much, and I think I overread the genre. I just got a bit stale with it, and it was just the same old things coming out, so I kind of found it a bit hard to go back into, but this one really struck me, and the other one that really strikes me is Red Rising, but we're not talking science fiction today, so this one kind of bridges the gap between science fiction and Gothic. And if you have read this, what did you think of it? I would love to know down below. Obviously, I've got a lot of reading to do to get myself up to scratch. I do read a lot, don't get me wrong, but I just haven't done it on this channel. I'm going to be jumping in there with you, and hopefully we can explore new favourites together. Okay, this one. Have you got one of these books on your shelves that spooky season comes around and you pick it up every single time, maybe it's just me, and you start to read it and you get so freaked out you put it back? This has happened to me twice now, and this is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd-Jones. I started reading this last October, late at night, I know, lit a candle, and I had the evening to myself and the night to myself because my partner had gone away for the weekend. Maybe not the best decision, but this freaked me out. The descriptions of what's happening to the characters and like the sounds that she writes, the descriptions of the bodies coming up through the floor, and this girl and this guy like basically trying to figure out what's going on. There's this wood or this land at the back of their house where there's a graveyard. These two are in charge of keeping peace with the bones and the bodies that keep coming up out of the ground. So they're essentially like, not grave robbers, but grave keepers. So it's like this ground where they live is haunted or has this magical power. So they're essentially like gatekeepers to stop the corpses that come up in place and not coming into the town and not creating havoc. And I don't know whether they suck people's lives or kill them, but oh, they do attack. Okay, they attack people. So the main characters kind of have to go on this quest to try and stop it from happening, I think. So let's dive into the book. If you have read it, what did you think? Is it as creepy as I initially thought it was, or am I just being a wuss? It also depends what mood I'm in. If I'm in a more vulnerable emotional place, this will probably creep me out, which is obviously what it did. Whereas now, I don't know, maybe if I'm reading it in an afternoon with a cup of tea and a warm fire, I won't be so freaked out, rather than late at night in bed with no sound whatsoever. No warrior could stop the risen dead, but perhaps a gravedigger can. 17-year-old Rin cares about only two things: her family and her family's graveyard. Oh, okay, right. And right now, both are in dire straits. Since the death of their parents, Rin and her siblings have been scraping together a meagre existence as gravediggers in the remote village of Colbren, which sits at the foot of a harsh and deadly mountain range that has once been home to the Fae. The problem with being a gravedigger in Colbren, though, is that the dead don't always stay dead. Yeah, this is what I've read before. The risen corpses are known as bone houses, and legend says that they're the result of a decades-old curse. When Ellis, an apprentice map maker with a mysterious past, arrives in town, the bone houses attack with a new ferocity. What is it that draws them to him? And more importantly, how can they be stopped for good? Together, Ellis and Rin embark on a journey that will take them into the heart of the mountains, where they will have to face both the curse and the deeply buried truths about themselves. Equal parts classic horror novel and original fairy tale, The Bone Houses will have you spellbound from the very first page. Doesn't that sound great? I may well have to sneak this one in for this month's TBR as well, even though it wasn't on the list because it was in a different section of the house. I was only looking at these the other day. I didn't remember that I had a whole nother bookshelf in the other room with my older books that I still haven't read. Yeah, see what I mean? I have a problem, but maybe you have a problem too because you're reading and watching this with me, so Go us. I really want to read this one next now. Oh yes, this is the last book. Now, have you heard of Grady Hendrix? If you're in America or you like a vintage horror or Gothic stories, you probably would have heard of him. I have read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Hunting or Slaying Vampires. Really good book, really creepy, very descriptive, and there was quite a few scenes in there with rotting bodies and maggots and things coming out where the main character, vampire, had killed people of the town. It was really gross, so again, I had to dip in and out of it because if I'm in the right mood, I can stomach it. If I'm not in the right mood, it just creeps me out too much. So that one was a good favourite, but it took me a little bit longer to read. This one is giving me Stranger Things vibes. So it's my best friend's Exorcism, and I love the fact that it's made to look like a VHS old cover. I mean, I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 1985, so you can work out how old I am. And you would get your VHS video and then you'd pull it out of a sleeve. Those were the original, like, cardboard cases. And then obviously as time wore on, you had the plastic flip open case. Fun fact for you, I pre-ordered Beauty and the Beast for 99p at Blockbusters, and it was my first ever plastic opening case, and I had to wait a whole year for it to be released, and I was so excited for it, and a year went by a long time. I mean, what year was Beauty and the Beast released? 92? 91? I want to know if you had that same experience. I want to know. My best friend's Exorcism, it's just giving me all Stranger Things vibes. They're friends in a school. Her friend gets possessed and starts behaving really weirdly, and I don't know whether people end up dead or something happens, and her friend basically has to work out how she's been possessed, how to get this spirit or this ghost out of her, and basically reverse what's happening to the town. And I don't know whether it's more than one people or whether it's just the friend. She may well be either killing people or like just hurting them, and this friend just has to stop her. So let's read the back. This book packs all the magic of a summer horror flick. So yeah, there you go. High school Soho Moors. Abby and Gretchen have been best friends since 4th grade, but after an evening of skinny dipping goes disastrously wrong, Gretchen begins to act different. She's moody, she's irritable, and bizarre incidents keep happening whenever she's nearby. Abby's investigation leads her to some startling discoveries, and by the time their story reaches its terrifying conclusion, the fate of Abby and Gretchen will be determined by a single question. Is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? Ooh. Oh, it says here, like an unholy hybrid of Beaches and The Exorcist, my best friend's Exorcism blends teen angst, adolescence drama, unspeakable horrors, and a mix of 80s pop songs with a pulse-pounding supernatural thriller. I think if we read this, we're gonna have to put Stranger Things soundtrack on in the background or some kind of synth music. Don't you just love it? I mean, I am an 80s baby, and just Stranger Things epitomises everything I wish the 80s were at the time, because obviously I was a kid, a baby, so I didn't get to experience what looking back on the 80s is now, and Stranger Things just does that for me totally. The music, the clothes, the feeling of just having a childhood, so different than now. I would love to go back to the 80s as me being now and experience it all over again. So any book that can bring that feeling and that nostalgia back, I am here for it. So again, if you've never heard of this before or this author, check it out. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a really fun ride, today's video, and I'm actually really excited to rediscover these books that were on my bookshelves and have been for quite some time. So I'm very guilty of buying books and leaving them there and thinking I'll get around to them sometime and then I don't. So thank you for bringing them back to my attention, because they are certainly going to be added in for this month's reading. Might not get all of them through, but I think I might sneak that one and that one in, maybe. Anyway, let me know what you're reading. It's been lovely to hang out with you. And of course, don't forget that this channel is for the dreamers, for the witches, for the wanderers, and these, especially these, are our enchanted pages. Bye.